etc. But I want to give people time to charge your phone, have a cup of tea, put the children away, put your books well, take off your shirt, you just came from home, and get ready. Because when we start, you have to focus on this one. You can't take your eyes off it. So we'll come back. It's an exclusive interview with Dr. Joseph Siaw Agyapong, aka Zoom Lion, however you want to call him. He's a serial entrepreneur, the most successful person in Ghana, the man who knows how to work with different governments, whatever you call him. And we have seen your questions on Facebook. We'll be asking him a lot of those questions. But we want you to relax with this one. It's music. It's called Zangelewa.
Quand je pousse à gauche, toi tu pousses à droite. Quand je pousse à droite, toi tu pousses à gauche. On sache toujours. On sache toujours. En avant, marche. 1, 2, 3, 4. Et en avant, marche. 1, 2, 1, 2. En avant, marche. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. En avant, arrête. Tema. En avant, arrête. Tema.
Did you like that? That was Zangelewa. And good evening again, sir.
Good evening.
I have an interesting quote from Tony Elumelu, which we captured in the book when we were preparing for this. Let's have a look at it and let's all read it, and then we'll continue with the conversation tonight with Dr. Joseph Siaw Agyapong. Can we put up the quote from Tony Elumelu? He's a Nigerian entrepreneur, and he was quoted as saying something. Now, this is the book that we got it from. The book is entitled Emerging Africa. It is written by Kingsley Moghalu. He is a former deputy governor of the Nigerian Central Bank. Now, this is what Elumelu said. Dr. Agyapong, have a look at it. It says, the Nigerian entrepreneur, Tony Elumelu, has sought to popularize the phrase Afri-capitalism, an approach to business that creates social wealth and value while making profits, and in which philanthropy can use the already known strategy of impacting investment to create value. I'm sure you like that.
That's good.
Yeah, that's by Tony Olimelu.
That's good.
And when we saw it, we thought that this is something that sort of will resonate with you. But when you when you entered the radio studio today, what did you find? Were you surprised about how radio works and all of that?
Paul, thank you very much for this invitation. And I also want to greet my listeners and the people of Ghana. A very bright evening and a wonderful and a blessed one. I thank the Almighty God for a day like this because I know I'm not a person that normally engage with the media. I'm a reserved person that I like doing business, focusing, doing my own thing. But this morning, what really happened was that Forbes took about 6 months searching, looking for me for an interview. I was trying to all the time dodge and swerve, and one day they arrested me. I went to the office. By the time I got there, my director of communication has set up the office, and so there wasn't a way I could escape. It was just to interview. So after that, they published in their August edition, and out of that, Joy, Multimedia invited me for an interview and a discussion. So it was talking about how, by God's grace, life began with me, my businesses, and how things were. So I was able to explain to them. Joseph Siaw Agyapong is a very humble person and a noble one. I can say that I always knew my beginning and I knew where I started from, deep in the village. So I'm very, very humble, and I know how God has brought me this far. And I would like to share whatever God has given me with the people of Ghana. Devoid of whoever you are, I will serve this nation and serve everyone.
So when you entered, what did you see? Saw microphones? Were there a lot of people there?
In fact, it was the first time I've entered the studio. Today was the first time. When I entered here, I said, is that how sometimes when you look at it on the television physically, and when you come, you say, hey, things are quite different. It's an interesting place, and I think it's a very nice place.
What did you find on the radio? Microphones?
I saw microphones, I saw people with earphones, and so many things there.
I see. One of the quotes that came out of that interview from Joy FM is this one, which we saw on Joy Online earlier today. And it says that you talked about creativity. Can we see it? It says you talked about creativity instead of greed. I think a question was put. So here is what we picked up from Joy FM. Executive Chairman of Agyapong Group of Companies, Joseph Agyapong, has suggested that greed drives business interests. He said creativity instead of greed. Explain that to us.
In fact, a question was posed that it seems like I'm involved in everything, and my name pops up everywhere, and I'm involved doing so many things. Why am I having about 45 companies doing so many things? And I was trying, and so with that mindset or with that idea, people think that I'm greedy. I'm a very greedy person, trying
because
to
you want everything.
Because I want everything, trying to do everything. Why don't I leave others also to do some of them? And I humbly was trying to explain to listeners and the people of Ghana that there's some passion, some kind of a driven force within me, which I would say that one is divine, because my level of education got to a technical college. I ended my education at Royal Technical College with Electrical Engineering Technicians Part 2.
Where is Royal Technical?
Nungwa. The rest of my life, up to this, is by God's divine grace. I did not study business. So all the things that I have been doing comes from divine creativity. When an idea drops and I have to move forward with it, I don't look at risks. I look at the benefits and I pursue it and ensure that it's be done. Devoid of whether it is making profits, once it's generating employment and making the people of this country to survive and people to live well, that is my passion. So instead of people looking at Joseph Agyapong trying to do so many things and getting involved in so many things, and then termed as a greedy person or someone who is more selfish? Can we replace that with someone who is more creative, someone who innovates? And Paul, I humbly say, by the grace of God, every business that I have laid my hands on, I created it myself. I was not spoon-fed with a business that this is a business, go and take it. I created, and then when it comes out, I try to find how to get funds, money to implement it, and try to get people to manage it, where my knowledge and ideas are lacking in terms of managing it. And then I rely more on the God Almighty who brought the idea to then spur it up to the next level. So Zoom Lion is a model. It's an example. Tricycle, and today you are looking at a university, you are looking at compost plant.
I'll come to that, but let's backtrack a bit and remind you of something else you said this morning, which has been quoted by Peace FM. You said that if we don't watch the way we are going, foreigners will be selling wache on the streets. Can we see that quotation, which we picked up also from Peace FM this morning? There it is. Foreigners will soon cook and sell wache. Joseph Siaw Agyapong says that. What? I don't understand that.
I have looked at the trend of businesses in this country. And I've also traveled to other countries. I'm working in Angola, working in other places. And I see how local businesses have certain level of protection. Certain level of protection, and emphatic protection. When you look at Ghana, since independence, our industrialization is now developing. Our businesses that we have more is the SMEs. The
What's
SMEs, the small, medium enterprises. They are more. When you take the largest businesses that we have in Ghana, is the small and medium scale. So when you leave more foreigners to come and compete with them, from textiles to furniture, I always say that. I remember when I was schooling, the chairs that we're sitting on was made in Ghana chairs. Everything was made in Ghana. And you have most furniture companies producing bed, everything. Today, Paul, everything is imported. So how do the locals develop the skills to have a refined furniture that will be suitable to people? And I always cast my mind that, look, if this is the generation that we are in now, I was referring, the generations will come, what will they meet? So certain businesses must be the preserve. And that is how developing countries have done. There are certain things we can't take into country and get the licenses and start doing business any way that how you want it. And so I was saying that let us all, it is something that we have to critically look at, that certain businesses, and if an investor is coming, he should come in with the bigger ones like industrialization in big industries.
But we are losing these to foreigners, so
we
you think
are
that
losing it up.
if we continue doing that, we are going to lose everything?
Wonderful. And if the younger ones have to start businesses and come to meet a very big competition, how will they get in? And I take myself an example. So some years back, when I was in the print in 1995 and I started printing, in the year 2000, most of books, textbooks, were printed from China, from India. And fortunately, a government with a new administration, in fact, it started from the previous administration that some textbooks must be printed locally, whether it is the publisher is coming for staying outside or has the office outside or the ownership of it. Once government is purchasing it, and Paul, it is working. Now go and look at the printing industry. I was there. I worked in the printing industry for more than 10 years. I have to relocate some of my printing equipment to Sierra Leone because the exercise books and everything, notebooks, were printed from outside. Today it's changing. And that is how it must go to other level of businesses.
So you are satisfied with what is happening in the printing industry?
Very fantastic.
Why? What changed from the time that we were importing to now, somehow we are printing here? Was it a government policy? What was it?
In fact, the Printers and Publishers Association, the Printers Association department, in fact, started advocating and saying that, look, our businesses are getting out of hand. If government does not do something about it, a time will come that nothing. And most of the printing houses were folding up because the cost of printing equipment was very expensive. And through that intervention, government came in halfway, and it is yielding results. I'm pleading, I'm saying that other businesses must also be looked at. Well, I was making a statement that every year you have about more than 50,000 students from the 10 regional universities, 10 polytechnic universities, and others coming out. More than that. What work do we get for them?
You're talking about
Where
graduate
do-
unemployment.
Wonderful. Yes, graduate unemployment. How do they start? So they will start from some of these businesses. And if they come and meet a very fierce competition, how do they get in? And to develop the nation, we must have some strategy as government have started, and we must look at it critically, that some businesses must be preserved for the local indigenous to grow and develop the space and demand, as they cannot.
We have to make this program very interactive, so I have to go straight to Facebook and see what people are saying. And subsequently, we'll paste the Facebook on the TV so you can see it. And producer, please work on that. Paste it out on the TV so we can all see it. Oscar Provençal says, I admire my former boss. Nana Boatin says, how can diversification of his portfolio be greedy? The world doesn't owe anybody free money or business. If you want, you have to chase it. Tommy Tay says, Mr. Agyapong said he ended his education at technical school. Where did he get a doctor from? And Ohineba says that I like your passion that you want to see people working. Okay, so the question is, where did you get your doctor from? Because we introduced you as Dr. Siaw.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
KNUST, in fact, gave me an honorary doctorate. And so I was privileged to have a honorary doctorate from the KNUST.
But there's another question about sanitation, that we haven't really solved the sanitation problem in Ghana. And I think that Ghanaians are generally grateful to you for spurring up the sanitation revolution. But we haven't finished solving the sanitation problem. But you are already gone to telecommunications with Suba, you are gone to something else, you are going to something else, you are going to something else. How do we solve the sanitation problem without you? Because you are gone.
Thank you very much. The sanitation problem that we have in this country, I would say that it's not a problem. It is not a problem at all. And Ghana, the challenges that we have is how we have to just get the systems right. Let's do what is right with the systems and the processes. And also, we having the support of government in appreciating how sanitation must be managed. Paul, over the years, 20 years in Ghana, sanitation was dependent on donors' support. So most of the funding for the water and sanitation sector was on donor funding. The World Bank, the Netherlands, and other countries. Government didn't set up more budgetary allocations in terms of funding to solve sanitation issues. So most of the problems that we are facing today was as a result of how we all as a country plan how to deal. In other countries, environmental issues is number one. In Ghana, 20, 30 years back was number 10. So now that we are taking it from a level and developing it up, I would say that tremendous achievement have been achieved or realized in this country, because I'm working in Guinea, I'm working in other part of the country, and I see that when you come to Ghana, it's like you are in Britain from other countries.
Really?
Yes.
We are not that bad?
We are not all that bad. Because we have not actualized what we want, and that is what we talk about issues. But it is very simple. We must stay focused in developing. Fortunately, we have a Ministry of Sanitation and Water now. And once the systems get right with all the regulatory framework, it will be done.
Okay, so give us a basic understanding. Why would my boiler not be collected?
You see,
sometimes a lot of people complain.
It's very simple.
What happens?
The system is very. Let me explain. And commitment starts from enforcement, and sanitation processes. It starts from how to have the refuse in a container. If every house.
So what is it that we are saying? What?
So this is.
Yeah, look at something like this.
Yes.
Why do we have this in Ghana? We say Zoom Lion is a champion, and we have Zoom Lion and we have this.
Yes.
Why?
Yes. In fact, that is what I was trying to explain to viewers and to you that if we get it right, how did this started? Meaning that it was.
Where is this actually?
This is a landfill. I think it's a landfill. This is also during the rains, flood. Some of the cutters, yes. So
and all that. Okay, so let's get back to the basics and understand. Why would I put a bin in front of my house, I put it in, I expect them to take it, they don't take it.
Okay, so the sanitation process is very simple. When you every human being generates waste, and when you generate waste, it must be containerized. So the waste must have a container. So when you lose the basis, you get it wrong. So we must have a container in each house. That is how developed countries have that.
That's the bin.
The bin,
okay.
A waste bin.
But I have it.
Well, so I'm coming. Now, when you have the waste in the bin, the waste will not get outside your house, so that it doesn't get into the drains and choke the gutters, so that when it rains, the gutter is flooding. Now, the second one is that when the waste bin is there, you must have a contractor or someone assigned to collect the waste. A contractor must also be assigned. Now, a fee is being paid. So let's start from the basis that, do we have every house having a bin?
No.
If we have it in country, whether it is a slums area or it is a low or middle level area, once that exercise is being done, you've solved 80% of waste problem in this country. And that is my passion.
When everyone has a bin.
Every house has a bin. So my vision and passion is that one house, one dustbin. Where day we achieve this, Ghana will be a model of a country, and President Nana Akufo-Addo's vision of making Accra the cleanest city in Africa will be achievable, and we are going to make sure that his vision is achievable. So the simple thing, no philosophy, anyone can bring in any innovative idea than this simple system. One house, get a bin. The children will learn how to litter into a waste bin. Everyone will learn, so that when you come from the house and walking on the street, and when you generate waste by taking yogurt or sachet water, you must have waste is culture. Waste is culture. Waste need access to dispose. If there's no accessibility for disposing it, it will find itself into a drain, and it will find itself on the street. And then the pictures that you saw now, you've seen it. So how did it mandate like this? Let's have every house, the assembly enforcing with the bylaws, Ministry of Water and Sanitation enforcing with the bylaws, that we will give you a bin, a standardized bin. Paul, why is it that my grandmother traveled from here to Chicago, and she doesn't take the culture that when he a piece of plantain or cassava and put it anywhere and then start sweeping in the morning, takes it to Chicago? Because in Chicago, there's a waste bin on the street, there's a waste bin in the kitchen, there's a waste bin everywhere. So automatically, consciously, it changes your mindset. Waste is culture. The way you start it, it becomes more with you. So let's get the system and the basis right. If you evacuate refuse heaps, and for 10 years, Zoom Lion has been in this exercise. We have done refuse evacuation, we have done cleanup exercise, we have done public education. All of them have yielded nothing because the basis, we did not get it right. And so by our research, it's very simple. Waste must be contained in a waste container. And when it's contained, flies will not get onto it, so that cholera will be generated, mosquitoes can come, and so many other things and other waste-related diseases. And
so the ball is in the court of all of us and the government.
And the government. For us all to look at this and ensure that we must have a waste bin in the house so that our children and generation can know how best to dispose waste.
Okay, we'll be talking about other things tonight. And if you are just joining us, you have come to the middle of the interview. We are speaking in a very anticipated conversation with Dr. Joseph Siaw Agyapong. We will be talking about many issues tonight. He had already done an interview this morning on radio, and we had picked up some of the information from there. So the controversial matter this morning on radio is whether or not you are indebted to government, whether government is collecting money from you as a result of the famous JIDA report. You said government, you don't owe the government. There's another opinion said that you do. What is the clarity on that matter? 140 million cedis or so.
Okay. I thank you very much for this question and also to explain, give you the opportunity to explain to my listeners. I think that it's very simple. We engage government in a discussion on the waste and sanitation model of the National Youth Employment in the then President Kufuor's administration, former President Kufuor administration, that's in the year 2006. And we've worked up to date. The payments have been in arrears all the time because the contract says that you pay in quarterly arrears. So there have been arrears, and in the year 2013, government set up a committee to investigate JIDA when there was issues about JIDA issues and why EP.
It was said there was corruption and all of that.
Scandals and everything. Yeah. I think that we're about 17 contractors that were having this business. Each one was called for interview by the committee. I could remember that I appeared at the committee with my team. We brought all our contracts, all the questions and all documents and everything, even to the numbers of the workers that were working by then. And after that, the committee report came out. When the committee report came out, Paul, it might interest you to know that I have a copy here. It's on the website. Everything is here. Page 131, the committee brought their opinion about their findings. And that is their findings. After that, government white paper, that's called government action paper, is also here. And I've read through about it. I did not see any charge found on Zoom Lion. And this was what I was explaining, that some journalists have posted on their Facebook that Zoom Lion was asked to pay 141 million Ghana cedis. And I was trying to explain that if government, there's a committee that has been set up on an issue by government, and after that, government have come out with an action paper which can be termed as a white paper. Why does then a journalist go and set up his own committee and develop a black paper by adding certain things which was not in the white paper and parading there? So I was trying to point out that such things don't motivate businesses and it doesn't encourage businesses.
So you don't owe government 140 million?
No, please.
Government has not written to you. So after the JIDA report, did the government write anything to you?
Nothing. I've not received any letter.
After you made your presentation to them, did they acknowledge anything?
They did not. After we made the presentation, the last thing that we heard was the report that came out.
But other companies have been made to pay some money.
Yes.
To the Attorney General's office.
I heard so.
But you have not been asked to pay any money?
Please, yes.
So as a matter of record, as far as the JIDA investigation is concerned, you were not asked or found to owe government any money?
Yes, please, Paul. And that is why I'm saying that this is a paper. And it's a public document. It's on the net. Nothing is here. Actions and directives, they are all here. The Ministerial Impact Assessment Review, a review committee admits that they did not have access to all information they were required and did not have enough time. This is here. And all those that were says they should, the Attorney General, Yoko, and everything should. Zoom Lion is not here. Zoom Lion's name is not here.
If we want to verify this information, who should we write to the Attorney General and ask them whether Zoom Lion owes the government? Who should we write to? Is it the Yoko? Is it the Attorney General? Is it the CID? Who should we write to?
Chairman Paul, wherever you want to write, I don't know where you have to write to. Yeah. But what I know is that this is a white paper and this is the committee's report.
And this is 2014?
2013.
And we are in 17?
Yes.
And you have not been written to that you owe any money?
Please.
No government agency has written to you?
Please.
But are you continuing with the work? Are you still doing it?
I'm doing it.
The NYEP?
Yes, please.
Have you been
It's
paid?
YEA now.
YEA, yes. Have you been paid?
Yes, I've been paid, and there are still arrears, and we are working. And I think that quite recently, when President met the journalists at the last minute, he was talking about some service providers that clearly, in fact, he made a statement on that he knows that on the wage side, there are some of the service providers, government owes them money, and so in fact, it is.
So you don't have any problem in that area?
No, please. No, please.
Ah, this is interesting.
Yeah.
So you don't owe 140 million?
No, I don't owe 140.
How much do you owe?
I don't owe. But government.
Really?
Yes, I don't owe.
So we should disregard any report that says that you owe?
This morning I was just saying that if government develop a white paper, don't develop a black one. The black one is your own figures. This is white. Don't cause it black. Make it clean.
Let's take a break. After that, we'll come with the conversations. Your Facebook is coming up big time, so we're going to ask all the questions on Facebook. It's now 17 minutes to the top of the hour, 10 o'clock. This is Good Evening Ghana. It's live, and we'll be talking about a lot. Those of you who are aware that Agyapong has had some fractions with the World Bank, we'll talk about that as well. He did say that this morning, but he supplied me some documents which we have scanned that we will show to you now. Okay, no, we read this already, so let's have something that we have not read yet. After the break, we will be back with more. This is Good Evening Ghana and it's live.
Culinary diplomacy seeks to foster diplomatic relations through the global language of food. This show is an avenue to engage members of the diplomatic corps on issues of culture and policy.
The process was the most transparent process that I've seen in any African election.
With the help of an ambassador or head of an international organization each week, we'll get the opportunity to explore various countries and the work their embassies and organizations do right here. Culinary diplomacy.
Be a part of our daily programming for all major social media networks. Don't forget, we are big on your views. Share them on www.facebook.com/MetroTVGH. Follow our handle on Twitter at MetroTVGH. For news, hashtag MetroTVNews. For sports, hashtag MetroTVSports. And for entertainment, hashtag MetroTVShowbiz. Follow our post and join the Metro TV family on Instagram with handle MyMetroTV. And there's more. Find us on our YouTube channel anywhere in the world. It's Metro News and Metro Sports on YouTube, or you can WhatsApp us on 055-425-2525. Visit us on www.mymetrotv.tv. Metro TV, never a dull moment.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. It's a good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up now. It's a brand new day. It's a brand new day. The tomorrow you're waiting for is today. Have a good morning, yeah. Just have a good morning.
Good morning.
Step out and make it happen.
It's the all new Good Morning Ghana.
Have all you need to start your day.
This is Good Morning Ghana, live on Metro TV.
Use you can use.
He's made some interventions. We'll follow up.
We're going to be talking some interesting issues. What is making news in our country today?
Good morning, Ghana. Good morning, Ghana.
whoever is sitting in this car should also look unto God and do me a favor and bring this car to me, because it was bought out of blood money.
This car is like a blood, his own blood.
You never saw.
He is lying here.
Lying how?
You are lying here.
He's your man.
No, but here he is lying. When I came, he was not trying to release all the documents to me. Then I threatened him.
A friend of his who worked in the system has informed him that somebody has created the goods from the system. The thing has been on the system for so many long time, and blah. Anytime I call him, I'm in Accra.
He doesn't pay attention.
I'm here. I'm that.
That is why I am even seeing a conspiracy, as in somebody being a vulture or a scavenger, just trying to count days
to jump on your
my vehicle.
How do you know that the goods are still sitting in the
We sent somebody to the port. Apart from that, he also passed through some spiritual means, and we know the goods at the port.
It's good news that I've been told that the items are in the state warehouse.
The state warehouse in customs parlance, we say it's a prison for goods.
It's too bad sometimes some of us we have to learn the hard way. We've learned our lesson watching from your program.
Iron Port, showing every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Metro TV. Iron Port, transparency in doing business and building nation. Proudly brought to you by Ghana Oil Company Limited, West Blue Consulting, and GCNet.
Welcome back. Thank you very much for your time. We are still talking to Dr. Joseph Siaw Agyapong. There he is, looking resplendent in a blue jacket and a red tie. Let's see this quotation again from the book that we took. We picked, Emerging Africa. This is a story about South Korea, and we're really coming to the issue about how we can develop our country, and that's the book again. Chairman, have a look at this. It says in South Korea, the family-controlled companies have driven the transformation of South Korea from poverty into a global economic powerhouse in the past 50 years, according to one news analysis. These conglomerates were encouraged by South Korea's political leadership as part of a worldwide view that single-mindedly sought to make South Korea an industrial power in the shortest possible time, as evidence of the successful outcome of the requisite global intent. South Korea's electronic products and vehicles have won global admiration. It's by Kingsley Mogale. It's in the book entitled Emerging Africa, in the chapter on capitalism and the wealth of nations. If you look at Africa, and please prepare the African map and let's put it out. Do you think that we are lacking behind in some ways in terms of having a global conglomerate that can raise Africa? Do you see yourself as one of those global conglomerates?
This is a very good question, and I think that the quote from the writer is in the right direction. He was giving a view of how Korea started and how they built the Samsung, the Hyundais, and other companies. And when you go to China, in fact, I've traveled a lot to China more than 15 years back, and I've studied. In China, every province is noted. Every city is noted for a specialized industry. You have the ceramic in one city, you have industrialization, vehicle, automobile in another city. So, and this reflects to what the government, through His Excellency President Nana Akufo-Addo has brought us one district, one factory. Is part of that. Trying to have industrialization in each of the capitals and then also in the regions. So I think the writer was referring to that. Let us build giant businesses that will stand, and so that the younger ones will learn from them. Entrepreneurship is talents, is skills, is developing. So once you want to do this, it's very simple. Identify the sectors that you want. If it is rice, that we want to cut 1.5 billion import of rice and have...
That's how much we're importing now?
Yes.
Oh, it's grown from the 800, 900?
It's moving.
It means we are eating more rice.
In fact, I read a book that it is rice, tomatoes, and others is getting to 1.5 billion. I have.
Oh, we are importing tin tomatoes.
We are so much is there. We are importing everything. Well, 85 to 90 of the things that we develop here. This one I was saying that there's even now that when I was in year 2000, when I was going to have my wedding, I went to Opera Square, and then the suit, the tailor of the measure you 2 days is discharged. These days, you have people coming from Hong Kong to take your measurement.
Yes,
you have people from India to come and take your measurement. So they now competing with the tailors at, and we know when you go to Masalam Down, I've forgotten the guy's name.
Dan Morton.
Dan Morton. They so nice suits. But now when you move to other places, I was going to around Parliament area and I met a guy, Chief Executive, and they will even chase you in your house to take your measurement. And I know they are very careful, but they are now taking most of the businesses outside. What I'm just trying to say is that if we develop bigger guys, if we find Dan Morton is into town and we establish and support, and that is what I support about this stimulus package to enhance big businesses. Just make this, Paul, let's have the strategy right. If you want to have 10 Zoom Lions or 20 Zoom Lions, it's very big. Big the big ones, enlarge and extend them so that we take the younger ones alongside. If you say everybody should start, it's good, but some will die. Others, the bigger ones must hold the younger ones, and then you develop. So in China, they have segregated things that if it is vehicle that you want to manufacture, someone is manufacturing the boots, only the boots, someone is manufacturing the tires, someone is manufacturing shaft, and so that you have multiples of these manufacturers, and then one is assembling, bringing the pieces together. And that is what, in fact, the writer was talking about the China, the South Korea situation. The Chinese also adopted the same. I one time met President Lula of Brazil, and he was telling me how he developed Brazil. We all knew that Brazil, some years back, were in difficulties and were to, even the World Bank even facilitated some funds for them and developed. And he was telling me that I met him in a hotel. In fact, when he visited here, I wanted to just take some inspiration from him. I said, look, what I did was to invite private companies in a room, and I invited the bankers in a room, and I invited the policymakers, my ministers in a room. In fact, this came from the man, and I'm quoting him directly, that I invited the private sector, I brought the bankers, and I brought my ministers. And I said, look, this is what you must do. Develop this city. Bankers, guarantee them funds to develop it up. Government, ministers, support them to move them. And he said that's how Brazil overturned the situation. I think we can do the same thing in Ghana.
So we have to develop individual entrepreneurs.
If we have energy problem, let's try Ghanaians. Assemble 10, 15 Ghanaians in a room that we have energy problem. How best do we solve it? Bring bankers along and let's solve it. Government must get the guarantees as any foreign company will get.
But why should the government be developing Dr. Agyapong and not developing me, for instance? You know, Agyapong gets developed, I don't get developed, or he gets richer, I don't get richer. Is it the one who has the idea, the entrepreneur, and then the worker? How? Because people get concerned about that.
It is not developing one person. I'm bringing a concept that you are bringing private companies
together,
and then having a focus of solving a problem. So if it is in the rice that we have to stop importing about 50% or the poultry, can we have giants in the poultry industry existing now, those existing, and bring them up to a certain level so that the younger ones also will learn from them? Can we have those already in the rice, people doing it already, not new people? Can we bring them up, bring all of them together and develop them in the vehicle sector? And I always admire Apostle Kudusafo because I have a similar plant in the year 2007 when I brought about 1,006 trucks. I have the view of setting a plant to manufacture. And I admire him. Every year, he have a model of a vehicle. He has tried his best. Can we help him? If even the vehicle is not in the finest system or the finest taste that we want, can we help him to expand and produce pickups so that we stop importing pickups, so that we can
at least
buy,
pickups or
yes,
tricycles?
So that we can, others will learn to be supplying both and not to Apostle Joseph's plant. And how many years that the man have tried manufacturing vehicles, and how many others have government purchased?
You've done something significant here, and you know, my cousin, who is the dean of the provost of the School of Engineering, he sent me a text. Professor Adom-Otchere says, tell Chairman that he's doing very well with the interview. And I know you have a relationship with KNUST. I'll come to that because I want us to understand that model. You are the first businessman who has set up a business and supported a state university to expand into research in that area. I'll come to that. But let's ask some critical questions. Are you saying that if there's a local business person and he does something wrong, we shouldn't say it because he's local? We should support local people. So when he does something wrong, we shouldn't say it. In America, Enron went down, you know. So what should we do with locals when they do something wrong?
When locals do something wrong, the necessary regulatory issues or kind of punishment that are there, it must go with them. I'm not saying that if local companies are not paying their taxes or they are doing something wrongs, government should leave them. No. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about enhancing and developing local skills. And you see, Kwame, facts are, Paul, facts are facts. Very simple. When did we have industrialization? Where are our industries that have developed to the level that a younger generation and students can learn from? So I take an example. More than 30 years back, when, apart from Coast Motors, that we all knew of, which is now a company bought Coast Motors, which we have technical schools here, polytechnics here, and other level technical. So we can't produce both and not. You go to magazine, look at we have the Speedo, we can't produce both and not here. Can we produce a shaft? Can we do something? So I'm saying that if we have recognized that we want to develop and cut off importation so that our forex will not have high demand. The dollar is 4.6 and it's the demand. If you even bring in $2 billion today, it will be consumed.
So you're talking about...
I'm trying to say that the economic development, as government is looking at, is trying to have more domestication so that you balance how you do your
We should produce some more from here.
Wonderful.
So the oil industry, for instance, has produced 3 FPSOs. And the business around FPSO, we are told, is $5 billion. And everything went outside. That's what you are worried about. That we should be able to have built with the FPSO Kwame Nkrumah, FPSO Atta Mills, FPSO J. Kufuor, and it was built in Singapore. That's what you are worried about.
No, you see, what I'm saying is that if perhaps we don't have the skills, we should have the intention of developing the skills that if 3 have been produced from Singapore, the next 4th one, can we try that with it? You see, the trying aspect is what I'm coming up. I started with tricycle. And with the space and the environment that I receive and the support from government, today we have Encompass. When I was starting the business of waste management in 2006, I did not dreamt of compost.
Why did you go into waste management?
Waste management. I went into it
because the Forbes has some Forbes talks about it.
Yes, I went into it to solve problems. In the year 2005, we all knew, as we are talking about waste today, there were wastes everywhere. Some of the pictures that you just display were pictures in 2005, 2006. Waste was everywhere. And so I got the idea by praying to God 1 to 10 things of business. And then I got the idea. And this idea came with a tricycle. And I have the vision that...
So you took the tricycle and you did what?
And start assembling them.
You assembled the tricycle?
The tricycles here. And then start distributing these tricycles to each... I started from Bolga. Bolga in the upper region.
You went to Bolga to start developing tricycles?
No, what I did was I set up a plant here. And because it was new, a new concept, I wanted people who can really...
So that's what we have in the photograph behind us, tricycle?
Yes, that's a tricycle.
Okay, that's a small one. Yes. Okay, so this is what you started with?
I started with.
So you went to Bolga to buy them or what?
No, this was the beginning of Zoomline. I went to China and I saw some Chinese using tricycles in collecting waste.
That's the one we saw is different from the one we are seeing now.
This is the motorized one. The one is
okay.
a developed
There's
one.
a bicycle one and there's a motorized
There's
one.
a manual tricycle and there's a motorized tricycle.
Okay. Which runs faster, has an engine.
Yes, please. So the manual one was...
That's how you started?
We started. And I had in mind that instead of importing the tricycle directly in, I'll bring it knocked down. And so some of the containers, because we have gratis here. So gratis, I contacted most of them, and we have a Kumasi magazine. Most of the guys there, in fact, do you know what I did? I took about mechanics. I took more than 20 to China to study about 3 months to how to manufacture the tricycles, and I brought them down. And most
Our
of the
people?
Our Ghanaians.
Oh, I see.
And they came and they assembled everything. My trucks, if you can ask most of the staff there, about 50 people have been there.
To China?
Yes. When I identify anything in any country, I want it here. If it is good in that country, it's good also here. So instead of bringing the import, I will send people there to go and train and come down and do it. And that's how it started with the tricycle to the motorized tricycle. There was one even that I called the Bola taxi. It was Ghanaians who developed it. It wasn't even in China. We even took the concept to China for them to develop
why did the tricycle revolutionize sanitation? Is it because they could pick it faster, take it, dump it, come back quickly? How did it work?
My passion has always been employment generation. Now, when you take a truck, before I brought in the tricycle concept, there were trucks that were using. In fact, government even have some tractors that were cutting waste and a truck. A truck takes 2 drivers, a driver and a janitor. Now, when the truck breaks down, and that is end. Now, when I brought the tricycle, my mindset was, Paul, I always tell people that it is not about money. It is about employment generation. So the tricycle, you have one mechanic assembling the tricycle. You have the one who will do the spraying of the tricycle. So you have 2 people working now. Then you have the rider of the tricycle. So one tricycle, we've generated 3 employees working. So if you have 10,000 tricycles, you have 30,000 working. You are feeding people. You are solving unemployment in this
Where
country.
did you get money to start, to buy the tricycles and all of that? Did you make that much money from your printing business to invest? Where did you get money?
In fact, when an idea comes and I model it, what I do is now take it to the proposal form to the bank. So I went to the bank, and I would say Barclays Bank at that time, that I want to go and buy a printing machine. So they should give me equipment financing. And when I got the funds, I told them that, look, this is the vision have been changed. So I used the money to buy a tricycle.
You diverted the funds?
Without a contract. When I brought a tricycle.
But you diverted the Barclays funds. That was very risky.
But that's entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is trying to fix and defix things.
Barclays did not get angry with you?
No. The objective was to pay my loan. And once the loan's repayment was done. So entrepreneurship is always try to fix things, and if it doesn't work, they fix things. So when this idea came, and I brought the tricycles, and the National Youth Employment then saw the concept, and then they signed on the sanitation model. So, Paul, this is how Joseph worked. Joseph would take the risks, start some new thing without a contract, and then he would try it and see that it works well. Then we all move on and see the beauty. I like trying and making sure that things work, challenging, and see that how best it works, and generate employment for people also to benefit from that.
Okay, Rexford says that he's not just an entrepreneur, but he's also a great man of God. Joseph says, we all know that we need a towing system for the recovery of truck in the highways to reduce needless accident, but not this sham of a mandatory towing levy. We haven't talked about that yet. We'll come there. You can't be with Dr. Agyapong and be a failure. I have learned a lot from him in just this few minutes. This is a man of great ideas. He's a gift to Ghanaians and the generations to come. Let us support him. I've learned a lot from him. Okay, the messages are coming thick and fast. We'll be talking about them. So that's great on sanitation. But let's talk about politics before we come to World Bank. You are not a politician.
No, please.
Have you campaigned on platform before?
No, please.
Even before you became Chairman Zoom?
I don't even understand the chemistry of politics. I don't even understand the chemistry of
but
politics.
But you are close to politicians.
Politicians are Ghanaians.
Yes.
Politicians.
But you are close to ministers, chief of staff, this, that. President Mahama said as soon as he's read a sessional address, the next morning you are with him and you are pumping him with ideas.
Every politician is a strategist. Every politician's objective is to win an election. So it's a strategist. Every businessman's objective is to make sure that his business succeeds. And so if these two people are friends, there's nothing wrong.
So why are you MPP or NDC?
I'm a businessman, an entrepreneur who does business, and I don't have any political interest in any party. I work with people who share my values and ideas, and once we are working, we are working.
The first time I got in touch with Zoom Lion was here in Metro when I was told in during CAN 2008 by my boss that Zoom Lion has cleaned the stadium, because I came back and we were wondering that the opening game was between Ghana and Mali also, and wondering what's going to happen because the next game was the next 2 days. And he said Zoom Lion. That's the first time I heard the name. Where did you get that name from?
Zoom Lion, in fact, I got the name from China. There's a manufacturer who manufactures waste management equipment and construction equipment. So I told him that this name, when I bought equipment from
But he doesn't speak English. He calls the company Zoom Lion.
Yes.
What does Zoom mean?
And I will explain to you. It was an American and a Chinese combined name. And when I brought the concept of the tricycle, I wrote on the tricycle Zoom Lion, meaning multitude of lions aggressively collecting waste. And I wrote Obuafo, a helper. So I wrote these two names to see which Ghanaians would take most, and they chose the Zoom Lion.
Oh, so Obuafo could have been the name of the company.
Could have been the name of the company.
Oh, that's an interesting story. Yeah. That's really interesting. So you got the Zoom Lion. So we go to the stadium and we saw them, you know, the way your staff managed and the way they form circles and they have some choreography and they pick up the waste in a certain way. It was really beautiful,
yes,
and we were cheering them up,
yes,
you know,
yes.
and we heard that this is a good company. Yes. Everyone supported them. Then the elections of 2008 came, and we heard that you're an MPP company, you know, and so people were quite worried, and people wrote articles publicly that don't touch Zoom Lion and let Zoom Lion grow, etc. Happily, Professor Mills came to open your office, and we saw it. How did you navigate that? Did you tell them that you are not MPP, or what did you tell them?
But first of all, I think I would like to give a background of the CAN 2008 so that I can help you answer this question. In the CAN 2008, the company was established 2006, Zoom Lion, and I got wind of Ghana hosting the African Cup of Nations here, and so I said, this four stadia, Tamale, Takoradi, Accra, how best do we clean this in Kumasi? This four stadia. So at that time, we have the staff. What I did with Paul was, you know, Germany hosted the 2006 World Cup.
Yeah.
So I took some of my management and said, look, let's move there. I sent people to Germany.
Oh, that's interesting.
And then go and learn how they clean the stadia.
Oh, that's interesting.
That is how
that's what you did.
That's what I did. And so they went there, studied, got the organizers, how they plan, how they clean. And so when we brought them down, and then they start training the Ghanaians how to do it. And that's how we got a successful. And you could head from Mr. Haya to that.
At the closing ceremony,
yes,
he talked about the sanitation.
He made a statement.
Yeah.
Yes, that is it. That is entrepreneurship. When you don't have it, hire it and buy it. That is why I always tell policymakers that Ghana, we can do everything. We can do everything here. When there's energy issue, we can do it. If it is railway, I'm promising that, look, if they organize 10 people and put us together, the railway, we will solve it.
They say it costs 20 billion. Will you solve it?
Oh. Look, 20 billion. Creating 20 billion starts from a day. It comes from $1.
Yes.
If you want to create a billion, you start from $1.
So government shouldn't be traveling to China.
It is not about.
They should put businessmen together.
Whoever has that 20 billion has a use of it. And whoever has 20 billion also search for it. We will also find it.
Money doesn't intimidate you, never did. Coming from a poor background, money should intimidate you, but it doesn't.
Paul, this country, we are a blessed nation. A country that we have gold, we have diamond, we have everything here, bauxite, everything here. in the human being aspect, what you have or what God has given you is your body and your mind. As far as the mind can think, and I want to take a scripture from the Bible, Genesis chapter 12. And then when you read from 13, when Lot and Abraham parted, the Bible said that Abraham has a nephew, Lot, after God has asked him to leave his family and was moving. And then some kind of a confusion came between the servants of Lot and servants of Abraham, and brought in a kind of a separation. It was left with Abraham alone, and God told Abraham, look to the south, north, east, and west. As far as your eyes can see, you occupy it. So Ghana and you, Paul, and every Ghanaian, as far as our eyes can see that we are a blessed nation, we have the natural resources, we have everything. And now say that, who is an investor? An investor is someone coming to look at your resources and package it and give it to you. Why don't you package it yourself? As far as your mind can think that you can do it, you can do everything in Ghana. Because that is how Germany also thought and did it. That's how America. So as far as you can do. And that is how money doesn't intimidate me. If 1 trillion is far distance, I know one day I'll get there. But let my thinking be that one day I'll get there and I'll do it. So every development agenda we have in this country, if we want to grow rice and stop importation of rice, as far as our thinking start thinking there, we will get there. If our thinking start, well, let us try it and leave it, we will try it and it won't work because we have done it before. And I made a statement that we started doing things nicely in Ghana until we just drifted, and then the import influx came in and then moved things away. Let us have a focus that as far as we are thinking one district, one factory, let us move into the district and start setting up and focus on it. Let's forget about money. We will get there. That's how other countries.
Let's look at this map, and it just falls in place with what Dr. Agyapong has been saying. It's a few minutes past 10 o'clock. So, Chairman, have a look at this. So this is the African map that's constructed in terms of the resources of our continent. So Ghana has oil, and there's gold, cotton, iron, petroleum, crude. This is Africa. This is all over Africa. So this is the point you are making.
Yes.
That with this, we should be able to get enough. Money shouldn't intimidate us with this kind of resources that we have in Africa.
Yes.
Okay, so now let's talk about other matters. This letter is from the World Bank, and it says that, Dear Dr. Agyapong, by way of the letter, I wish to officially inform you, as conveyed in an earlier email to your COO, of the ICO's determination that Zoom Lion Ghana Limited and its sanctioned affiliates, which include Zoom Alliance Limited, Accra Compost Plant, Zoom GESL, Zoom Angola, etc., has satisfied the conditions of its release from sanction to debarment with conditional release in accordance with section, etc. As such, effective as of 23rd September 2015, that's 2015, the sanctioned entity names as well as corresponding footnotes, etc., so that you have you are no longer under sanctions by the World Bank. You got into trouble with the World Bank, and you talked about it on radio this morning, and you said you did well to get out of the trouble with the World Bank. How did you get out?
I think that, Paul, we all, listeners, we all know that in the year 2011, in fact, there was a tender in Liberia. It was a World Bank tender. World Bank tender to its international company.
What was the tender for? Sanitation something?
For landfill and waste collection in Liberia. So Zoom Lion, we tendered and we won the bid. And when we won, the total contract sum was $3.2 million. We executed it by 2014. So 2011, 3 years, 2014, we completed it up. And then when the auditors from the World Bank, when they saw that our manager then, in fact, who did not receive approval from the board, in fact, paid some money. One was $500, one was $300, and others. And they tell me that it was a facilitation of an invoice.
He paid it to who?
He paid it to some officials there.
Okay.
and they tell me that it was a facilitation of an invoice that was paid. So this brought in the sanction.
But you had been paid by the World Bank.
We have been paid everything.
Okay.
We have been paid. And
so they were sanctioning you for what? Bribery?
They were sanctioned for bribery. For bribery. And a contract that you have executed, you have paid. We could have said that, look, this we will take. We're having two options. Either we go on legal and contest that, look, this thing shouldn't be punished. We shouldn't be punished in this way. Or we accept the debarment and then go through a 2-year period and pass through a system of compliance. And in fact, when this news came, I said, well, no problem. Let's take the responsibility. Let's accept it. Even though the officer did not receive approval from management of doing this, let's take the responsibility.
Did you sack the officer?
We sacked the officer. And we took the debarment process. It was a very big blow to me. But I took it that, look, that is life. Life is about challenges and failures, and once you get into it and you take over. So we took it up, went through the processes, and 2 years in the year September 2015, the sanctions were lifted. And I was saying this morning that my pride is that wherever I go, I respect the Ghanaian, the flag, and as our national anthem, that I pledge to defend the good name of this country. So I made sure that I'll go through the processes, and then through the support of Pricewaterhouse, KPMG, and some advisors, Zoom Lion now, with the letter that you are reading, that we are out. And with the World Bank even, in fact, supported us, that we are now even training some other companies through the compliance system. It has brought good governance in our system, and we are working outside with good ethics and good principles. Everyone knows that we have a compliance department that looks at all these structures as an international company will look at issues and solve them. That's what we are doing now.
Okay, Stephen says that when it comes to youth employment, entrepreneurship development through leadership, Dr. Agyapong sponsored Global Entrepreneurship Week 2012 with $50,000, and through that, 2 companies have been created. Some of them are abroad. He says you're a blessing to this country. Another one says you are a hero. We'll get more of the messages coming. Tell us about this $50,000 that you supported global young entrepreneurs.
Yes, if my memories will serve me right. In the year 2013, there was students calling themselves that unemployed graduates. And so I said, how can people be calling themselves unemployed graduates?
Yeah, Unemployed Graduates Association.
Association.
Yes.
So we set up what we call GEPS, Graduate Employment Support Scheme. And the idea was just, let's take this.
Who set it up?
I set it up. I brought the concept, yes.
Okay.
Sponsored.
With government?
With government. I brought the idea that, look, let's set up a graduate enterprise support scheme. And this means, let's take these graduates to India, to China, and to Brazil. Let them go and see things that can quickly break their mind. The cycle is that these students have been for 4-year degree without any kind of exposure. When even they are on holidays, they are not able to get internship in industries here. So let them go and see some of the things that, and then it will bring a kind of mindset of innovative issues. And through that, some of this sponsorship got into this as a gentleman. That is how my passion, my serious passion is to let people exploit them, let them see things. And by seeing things, they can also innovate to do some of them. That's what...
You have 45 companies, but most of your success stories is with sanitation and Zoom Lion only. What do the other companies do?
In fact, we are into 12 sectors. And what we
12 economic sectors?
Yes, please. And we are trying each of them. The vision of the company is to be the most successful African holding company that is delivering exceptional quality service, that we are very, very quality in everything that we do. So what we are doing is that we have set, some of them are young, some of them are 2 years, 3 years, and we are equipping each of them.
Each of these companies?
Yes, to be the level. But Zoom Lion is the leading. That started 2006, and Zoom Lion gave birth to all these companies. So that's why you hear most of the things with Zoom Lion, because that's what has developed, and that's the mother. The parent.
Suba also gave you a bit of bad press in the last 3 years or so about technology, communication services tax, etc., etc. Is it still working?
It's working.
Is it an Indian company or is it a Ghanaian
It's
company?
a Ghanaian company. Suba is 100% Ghanaian company.
It's your company?
It's my company. And in 2007, when government passed the communication service tax, in the act, they needed a mechanism to monitor. And I'm from the waste sector. So how do I get this? That's Agyapong. When he hears something, he quickly starts it up. So I went outside in India, called friends. How do we use a mechanism to monitor the system?
Oh, that's interesting.
And I brought people down. We studied up, and that's how.
So you sniff the business.
I see
you
problems.
can smell it and you just go to India. And
I see where there's problems and I solve it, whether it is national problem or individual problem. So I saw that government needed a system to monitor, and government need a factory to produce something. Then I moved there. So I'm looking at solutions to problems that, because this country is the country that I was born, and if anything better, I have to help to develop this nation. As far as my children are living here, my children are not schooling outside, they are here. My parents and everybody's here. This country must be the best country I must stay. I must not leave here to go and stay in any place. That is why when I see problems, I want to solve it.
Would you stop at 45? Would you give up some and become 35 or 30, or you're going to continue?
As far as I can see things, as far as I see.
People don't want to pay the towing levy. They don't like it.
People don't like it. It's not a problem, and it's their right. People's right must be respected. So if people don't like it, it's not a problem. But the other side is it needful?
They think it's needful, yes. As we read all the social, they think it's needful. They think it's basic. My car breaks down, you tow it. Don't ask me to pay anything in January. Somebody said to me that, look, what is this? I have been driving for 10 years. My car has never broken down. So if I were paying towing levy every year, I would have been paying. Okay. And I'm making Zoomlion rich.
I think that what we all have to think about is, what is the whole concept about? Is the concept of preventing lives. And how did it start? It started by we seeing that there were challenges, most stationary vehicles on the road. And I have been a victim.
And there were fatalities.
Zoomlion have been a victim where one of our vehicles crashed into that, and it was serious. So as a result of that I was asked by my drivers that, look, we need a towing vehicle that can be assisting. Sometimes our vehicles,
that's where the idea came from.
That's where it came from. And it came in
through an experience.
2011. So I went to China to buy 11. And when I was buying...
You were buying this for yourself?
For myself, my company. The manufacturer told me, look, he can assist me to get funding. So I brought 128 and then approached the police that this will be useful for you. And said, look, we need it. So they took it, did a pilot service for 2 years. And
with your trucks?
With my trucks, without a fee, without nothing. That is
Who was buying the fuel for the trucks?
I was buying. I was doing everything. That is me.
But
so
did you know that the police could have finished the exercise and say we are not interested?
Even as it's sitting down now, idle, have I charged anyone? No.
But that was a major risk to take.
That is how when you are doing business, risk is also the part of success. Consider risk as part of the curve of making that.
So when you were bringing, you didn't ask the police, would you just brought it and say, look, let's try it.
Let's try it and let's see. It's solving of a problem because I've been a victim of it.
Maybe people think the charges are too high.
I think that is the charges must be, look at the concept of it. It's not the fee. Don't focus on the fee, but what is the value? When you look at the service, it's not towing. It's road safety. When you are to construct a parking area, when the vehicle is towed, it gets there. You must provide a patrol services that can even ease or stop armed robbery on the roads. You are to,
that's interesting. So it's not just picking up broken down vehicles.
No.
Oh, it's more than that.
It's more than that. The scope of services, you are providing security, you are supporting the ambulance service, you are even supporting with road marking, road surveillance, so many things. And it's about preventing of lives.
Let me get that again. So you are picking up cars that break down, the concept, the policy is picking up cars that break down for the service provider. It is also providing security on the road. But that's the police's regular work. Why would you be doing
and
that?
that is why the police is doing it. This
Or
work,
to be the police executing.
This work, I'm not executing it. I brought in the trucks. In fact, let me clearly explain this. When we brought in the trucks, the police and the Road Safety Commission, what I did was, can you go to countries that this thing are working so that you can study? So they went to America, they went to Colombia, they went to New York, they've been to South Africa to study the model. And what the committee, in fact, I brought the trucks. The whole system was not developed by me. Parliament passed a law. Can an individual bring a law? No. So there was a committee, the police, all stakeholders who look at what system will work. And the Road Safety Commission have always been saying that they've tried call as you wish. Whereby when, let's say, Paul, your vehicle breaks down, you call and then someone comes. And if you call in the night and the person is sleeping, will he help you?
So they've tried some models that it didn't work.
They didn't work. That call as you wish. If a vehicle is at Agyapong and your vehicle is at Sugakope and when you call, will he come? So that principle have not worked. And that is why they have developed this model, went to Parliament to pass a law that they want to institute this. And they did this.
Would you do another pilot?
Without even, as we speak now, my vehicle's on the road doing pilot.
Oh, now that everyone is talking about it.
Working.
Because if you do the pilot and we can feel it and we can see it, then maybe people would.
That is what I'm saying, that we should look at issues and see that, is it good for the country?
I think everyone believes that is good. But, yeah. So you say you are not the implementer. You are what are you? Are you a regulator? Are you the manager?
In fact, the books are here and everything is scanned. Even in the contract, I'm just a regulator. I bring the trucks. You have the existing operators using the trucks, and
so the 85% is supposed to be shared between you and all of them. How many are they?
You have about 3 layers. You have the primary contractors. You don't have the secondary contractors. And even, Paul, you can go and buy a towing truck today and join it.
That's what you said on radio this morning.
Yes,
that people should come and can join like Uber.
Yes, and everybody can share the dividends of it.
So 4 of my friends can go and buy a truck.
And be part of it. We want to solve
But
problems.
you will be paying us.
Yes.
That's interesting. I think we can say a bit more about that. Somebody says, I just ask you that, how are you going to contribute to One District, One Factory as Zoom Lion?
Zoom Lion already, in fact, what we did was we brought in a recycling of plastics. And as we speak now, Paul, I have almost about 100 recycle equipment ready that I'm going to support government to use this equipment to recycle. The plastics that we want to ban them, we can recycle them, use it to generate dustbins. And we can even have plastic inner liners for waste collection. So Zoom Lion off already. And that's how we brought this equipment 2 years back.
It looks like you're getting some good vibes on Facebook tonight. So Wisdom Mauli says, such a genius entrepreneur. This is just the beginning. Was so proud of seeing you on Fox. Ofori and Ponsan Benedict says, we need more of Joseph Siaw Agyapong in Ghana. Samuel Ahiade says, Dr. Agyapong, you have really done a lot for Ghana. I don't see in any part of the world where it is a crime to own a group of companies. Keep working, my boss. You are saving lives. Another one says, greediness is what is killing Ghanaians. We hail foreigners and despise our own. Mr. Siaw, continue with the good work. It looks like our viewers sort of like the work that you are doing. So, so many questions to ask. Okay, I'm getting pressure from Holy Child School. They say that they are celebrating something next year, and sanitation is the big agenda. They want to know whether you will commit yourself to helping them.
But it's something that we have been doing. We have a foundation, what we call Zoom Foundation. In fact, they are responsible for.
So they should, Holy Child School should apply to that.
Apply to Zoom Foundation, and then they'll be able to help.
They'll be able to help. Okay. How does your wife feel about all this? Do people know her? I mean, will she be identified on the street?
I have a supported and lovely wife, more caring, a sister. I call her a sister, a wife, my everything. She supports me in my business. But when I was from the business stage, she contributed a lot. she'll work with me. She does so many things, and I can't have anyone beside her.
Is she also a pastor?
She's a deaconess.
Deaconess?
Yes,
What's
the area leader, the women's ministry, area leader of Teshinuwa area Church of Pentecost.
And you are
I'm the elder.
pastor there?
No, I'm elder of
the same place.
Grace English Assembly.
So it's a Zoom Lion family area church,
no.
something like
but
that.
But the church that we all grew from. So we were born.
Oh, she's been in the church as well for that long. So
I met her in the church.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the church that I spotted her and I married her.
You spotted her?
Yes.
That's very interesting language. So
and then she was also my classmate.
Oh, I see. Where?
Yes. In Teshinuwa State Preparatory School.
Oh, that's young.
Yes.
Oh, you've known her for that long?
I've known her for that young.
But you spotted her in the church?
The church. She was a classmate by then, but I spotted more of her values, her principles, and the way she does things. And
that's a very long friendship.
Yes.
How many children do you have?
Well, I have 5. 4 girls, 4 lovely girls, and then a boy.
Oh, that's interesting. So when you preach on Sundays, or when do you preach?
I preach at any time. If you want me to preach now, I can preach.
So, but you're not a full-time pastor?
No, please. I'm an elder of the church.
But you were preaching before you became Zoom Lion? Or you started preaching?
No, the Church of Pentecost, you are taught to preach at any time, at every level. That's one of the things that the church does, is that to train people to be disciples.
Okay.
So you are trained to preach when you are an officer of the church, when you are called to a leader of the church, you are trained how to preach.
So do you lay hands on people? Do they fall down?
Oh, that is when you are being ushered by God to do that. It's not a practice that lay hand. You can also pray for people without laying hands, and they can, whatever must happen will happen.
Do you anoint them with oil?
No, I don't anoint with oil. I pray for people.
But Pentecost people don't get controversial in commenting about what is happening in Ghana, but look at the church thing. Do you also have comments about what we see on TV sometimes about the church? About what some pastors do, it becomes a social media issue and all that.
Well, I think that people express their opinion about so many. Ghana, we have freedom of speech. So when people see things about what church leaders and other things are doing, they have comments about it. But it's not all of them. We have values that churches and some churches are practicing, and that's what we must have the difference of what the church leaders are doing, and then the Bible says by their fruits you will know them. So by their fruits, in everything we have levels. We have good ones, we have bad ones. And
let's talk about the Sanitation Institute. And if you have the photographs, please put it up. It's an interesting matter that you set up, you start from tricycles, and then you set up a big company, Zoom Lion, very successful. According to Forbes, you become very rich out of Zoom Lion, which is great. But then you think about the University of Science and Technology and add a department of sanitation to the University of Science and Technology under the School of Engineering. I think that's absolutely brilliant. How did you get the idea? How did it come about?
I went.
So that's on your screen. That's the Institute of Sanitation and Waste Management. It's a KNUST department, and it's based here in Accra at the Zoom Lion offices, the African Institute of Sanitation. The building to the left is new, isn't it? The last time I came there, the building to the front was there, but the one to the left is new.
Yeah.
And is it classrooms as well?
In fact, there's a lecture hall. We have even relocated to a newer place, and we have acquired land that we're going to extend and have a...
Yeah, that's one of one of the lecture halls.
That's good.
So graduates who go to KNUST to do sanitation, they come here?
They come here.
So they live there, they have halls of residence?
Yes, but let me...
What's this, laboratories?
Yes, please. Let me give a background of why this was established. The core mandate of the company was to look at waste management problems and solve it in the country. But I recognize that policymakers need to support this. And how do we get them? You have at the district, the assembly members, you have the district chief executives, and you have other stakeholders and opinion leaders. How do we train these people in waste management so that we all take it as a serious concern issue? And that is why we established this. That if we are investing into waste management, if we are investing into waste issues, and policymakers don't get understanding to support our investment and the objective we want to achieve will not yield nothing.
So this is under KNUST?
Under KNUST managing.
But you are hosting it?
We constructed the facility and gave it to KNUST to handle it up, and then use it as one of their faculties purposely for sanitation.
Other universities will wonder what you are building for them. So you build something for KNUST. There's Ashesi, there's Pentecost University, there's Methodist University, there's Central University, there's University of Ghana, which is close to your office.
Yeah.
Are you thinking about something for these?
Once they come for us to discuss and we see how best we can contribute to support, I think that we can see what we can do. And it's best we do it. In South Africa, they have a model like this, whereby they train practitioners, they train people in that. So the institute is purposely to train people, those in the practitioner, in the field of sanitation, and then young students to have also come out from the university that want to have a practical hands-on on sanitation. Look at the various waste management problems that we have in this country. E-waste, hazardous waste, medical waste. Waste management is very broad, and if each of them is being looked at very, very carefully, I think we'll be able to get there. Quite recently, Paul, it will interest for you to know that Zoom Lion entered into dredging. During the
we heard about that. Yes, June 3rd.
June 3rd.
Yes.
We all heard about
the rescued us.
The earlier one. And then about 200 people passed, made their souls be with the Lord. And what we did was we brought in a dredger to be able to dredge the Kole Lagoon. And we all experienced a very heavy rainfall in the year 2016. But we were able to continue because Zoomline is still there working. Dredging was not part of our work. We started with tricycle. Why red dredging? That is Agyapong. People should not die. 200 people lost their life. So, like I will say that I'll fold my arms. As the towing, people are dying, and I brought trucks. The same thing, I brought a dredger. And the dredging is dredging, and it's saving lives for people.
There you are picking up an award recently. You seem to like blue suits because you were in a blue suit in that award also. Okay, I'd like you to pray for us, but before then, we have selected a song for you because of your Christian background. This is not Zangalewa, this is another song. Let's have a listen to it, and when we come back, this has been one of the longest Good Evening Ghana we've had. I'm sure you've enjoyed it and you have not felt sleep. It was widely anticipated. We hope that it went well. The artist is called Prayer or So. Here's the song.
Is the same God who was there in time of lack and want. Is the same God, is Jehovah, my great provider. Tell me why you're giving up on God. Tell me why you're giving up on Him. Tell me why you're giving up on God. Hold on, change is on the way. Imana dia tigide one more jide seike hitayage chukadiga twasi agadiri hima. Down you cry, it changes He. Weeping me down for a night. Joy's gonna come in the morning. You don't have to cry no more. Hold God by His word. He's gonna do what He says. Lift your hands and give Him praise. Oh,
20 minutes to the top of the hour. Forgive us for an elongated program, but I'm sure that you enjoyed this. Chairman Zoom, thank you very much for your time. We have ended the interview. Would like you to say a prayer as a pastor, and then we can go to bed.
Thank you very much, Paul, for this evening, for the invitation and the time that accorded me. I would like also to use this opportunity to thank the Almighty God for a time like this in my life, to be invited to share His grace that has been upon me and the company. I'd like also to thank management of Zoom Lion Ghana Limited, Agyapong Group, from the CEO, Edgar Akos, and all the other management at all levels, and all department heads, subsidiary leaders. Thank you for your commitment, your time, your love, your dedication for the company and Mother Ghana. I also like to thank listeners this evening for your time in listening to us. I will say that we are not there yet. We are trying to be there. We'll have some shortfalls. We may be offended in so many, or have committed so many mistakes. We'll say that we are not there yet. So look at that level and see how best you can help develop more of us so that we can build a better nation. To the youth, as far as you can see things in this country, it will take you there. So open your eyes well, watch things, never feel scared, and don't fear. Have the courage that if God has enabled a village boy like me to come to this level, He can also make you the same way. Encourage yourself. Don't let anything dampen your spirit. You may not have getting there yet, but have the assurance that you get there. You are designed for success. So all the youth, be encouraged. Ghana, God knows why He created you here, so you can make it well. Now to of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo Dankwa, we are here to support you, to make sure that most of the promises that have been made will contribute to help you deliver it. And to all the ministers, we are there to support you. And I think at this juncture, I want to thank everyone of this country and say, God bless us. Shall we humbly pray? Our Lord and Master Almighty, the creator of the universe, and you who created Ghana, created Japan, created every country, I want to thank you and bless you for a wonderful day like this. We want to say that in your wisdom, you know what you want to do, and that is what you have done. We are committing this nation into your hands, that, Father, you have blessed this nation. You have made it very wonderful. And so we want to thank you, the natural resources you've given us, the people that you've given to this country, the leaders that we have. We want to thank for the life of the president, the vice, and all ministers. We want to thank for the gift of life of all people. What we have discussed tonight is that, God, you will take us there, as far as our eyes can see. May you continue to bless everyone, the clergy, the leaders, and everyone of this country. May every leader who thinks that this country must be a success, may you open their mind and eyes to see. We want to live in a country that, Lord, it is full of blessing from you. And so we are committing ourselves to you. And every Ghanaian, may you protect us and guide us. We want to commit our rules, we want to commit everywhere and everything that we do. The leaders' ideas that you've brought, may you continue to be a blessing on it. As we depart, we are praying that your presence will continue to be with us. May a new morning of Ghana be a blessing one. And may your grace be sufficient for us. We want to thank you and bless you because you are the creator of the whole universe. You are the Alpha and Omega. We thank you and we bless you. If we are even short of words, we know that in your own wisdom, whatever we have said, you accomplish it and bless it in abundance for us. So may grace be sufficient for this nation. Father, we lift this country into your hands, that whatever it is, you will make Ghana succeed, and Ghana will be a blessing so that generations will continue to be a blessing for this. Let our leaders look up unto you and give them ideas. Let our students look up unto you and give them ideas. Let businesses flourish, and Father, you give them ideas. And let everyone be successful, so that whenever we stand, we will lift the flag of Ghana and say that God bless our homeland Ghana and make our great nation great and strong. Father, we thank you and bless you. In your mighty name, Jesus, we prayed. Amen.
Oh, wow. The amen you must have heard come out of the studio. I got a text message here from the house of the chief imam. They say they're very proud of you. Chief imam is your friend?
Yes, please.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
He and his people say that they are very proud of you.
Yeah, thank you.
And they like it. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. We hope that we'll see you again 20 years from now.
Thank you.
And you'll be greater, and Ghana will also be greater. It's a pleasure for this interview, and we hope that there will be more Zoom Lions created. I hope that one day I can be a Zoom Lion too.
Thank you.
In the media.
Yes, you can. You can.
Thank you, viewers, for watching, and we conclude this program. Have a very good night. Here is my favorite, Zangelewa.